Hello and welcome to Talkin Jake, myself, Davis Wimbledon, and what turned into a huge sports weekend, the Final Four, men's and women's, in a little headlines there. Opening day for baseball, opening week for baseball, opening weekend for baseball, and we'll get some instant overreactions. No, I think there's I think there's a way to do that the right way. When you see guys play for the first time, I saw another guy who lost weight. Who was it? Avisail Garcia. Him and Eloy Jimenez are my current winners of the offseason, best shape of their life. I was shocked. Avisail Garcia looked like, he was baby Miggy. And he looked svelte. So I don't know if that'll do anything for him, but now Avisail Garcia lost some weight this offseason, in my opinion. I also could be wrong. I haven't watched a lot. He just
looks good.
I just thought he looked good. We'll go around the league. Monday baseball episodes. Usually there's going to be kind of one or two big topics that I think will hit. This weekend, it's so funny. Baseball. I was playing this through my head that, only having 3 games, if you drop a 2 out of 3 or in the middle of the season, you just say, hey, baseball, and it happens. You do that early in the season and you start questioning everything. Or vice versa, like Texas with Bruce Bochy, like beating the Phillies and seeing Bochy on a field, you're like, oh, that's right.
I had that exact reaction when I saw the last out happen and they flashed a Bochy in the dugout.
Like, if you believe in managers, which I do to a degree, and Bruce Bochy is kind of an all-time manager, and this team that had an awesome offseason, you start putting yourself in the spin cycle. So let's dive into the basketball. We'll hit a little of the college hoops at the end. I'm obviously excited for my Huskies. LSU and Iowa was making so many headlines yesterday, and I guess if you want my take on that, you'll have to wait on it. Let's get into the baseball games, and it's brought to you by DraftKings. Baseball season is in full swing. Man, didn't think I'd be reading that so soon. I look at the date, and I know that. But whether you're rooting for the home team or betting on your favorite player, DraftKings Sportsbook, it's where you got to go. And there might be, for those John Boy Media hardos, there might be some more gambling content coming because Jimmy's now wrapped in the world. Did he write up a script for a show at about 11 p.m. last night? Yes. So look out for that. For now, if you're at home, you will get $5. If you bet $5 on any pregame moneyline bet, you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. And plus, do parlays. It makes a bigger payout. There's been a lot of talks about that recently. Join the big league action now on DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app. Sign up with code BAKERS. Wow. New customers can bet just $5 on any pregame moneyline and get $150 in bonus bets if their team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code BAKERS. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Let's go into it quick because I want to dive where we have to dive, but I want to move quickly where we can move quickly. So I guess the easiest box to check off would be our Yankees because we watch the most of that. They looked fine. They looked like the New York Yankees. Cole was good. Judge was good. Stanton was good. Clark Schmidt had a tough start, and he struggled with the same stuff that he struggled with last year versus lefties. They win a series at home. 2 of their 3 starters were Clark Schmidt and Johnny Brito. Anthony Volpe makes his debut, so it was one of the more exciting Yankee opening days in a long time. And they take care of the Giants, which Giants fans, if you're tuning into this, man, you guys are a funky squad. There's a lot of lefties. I don't know. They need Conforto to be good Mets Conforto, and I just don't know when or if that'll happen. If they want to go, Conforto's got to be good. He's in the middle of their lineup. They don't have a ton of pop. Jock Peterson's awesome. It was fun watching him for 3 days. And, I guess nothing changed my thoughts on the Giants after watching them play for 3 days. I don't get to watch the Giants play a lot, and I was looking for more. No, Lamont Wade is kind of fun. But otherwise, the Giants are they're a funky little organization, and I'm sure they're going to torture some teams and win some series, but they didn't move the needle too much for me, and Yankees looked all right. Let's Josh Donaldson homer. He is my most circled thing with the Yankees right now. DJ, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Glaber, Oswaldo, Volpe, the catchers, they kind of know where they're going to land. Donaldson, I don't know where he's going to land in the lineup. I don't know if he's going to stay in the lineup. He could be our fifth hitter if he's like good Josh Donaldson. I think Bailey just did an out-of-the-park baseball ad for Foolish. And I know in the thumbnail, pretty YouTube-y thumbnail for Foolish, but it had MVP ? Over Donaldson, which felt like a click. I haven't gotten there yet. Bailey, creamy beige. Let's jump to our Boston Red Sox, who played the Baltimore Orioles, and the Red Sox win 2 out of 3, kind of. 3 messy Red Sox-Orioles games at Fenway Park. The Orioles win on opening day. They jump out to the huge lead. Red Sox chip away. They got a shot at the end, and it's a 10-9 game. You look back at a couple moments that if one thing or the other goes differently, and it was lining up to be a weird long year in Fenway. The Orioles lose 9-8 when a dropped fly ball in left field would have won them a game. They would have won 8-7. They would have won the series. They would have taken the first 2 games in Fenway. Instead, they lose it, and the Sox kid, they come back and they roll them the final game. A Fenway Park series, at least 9 runs was scored in each game. And, instant reaction, right? What are you looking for? What feels tangible? For the Boston Red Sox, the lineup is going to be trouble, man. And I know we knew that. But Adam Duvall had a big weekend. And by the way, go look at his 21 season where he led the National League in RBI. And 21 is a season removed. 38 home runs. Playing at Fenway. He also won a Gold Glove that year. Like, Adam Duvall had a monster year that year. Last season, he plays 86 games. He's hurt, and the numbers aren't good. And the Red Sox, they sneaky got a lot of, like, their offseason plan was to get a few guys who had really nice 21s, and they kind of bought low on them. And, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Yoshida won everyone over at the WBC, right? And he had a nice opening weekend. Justin Turner, you know who he is. So, Tristan Casas has been their pivot point for me, but the Red Sox, I think they're going to be pesky all year. And in that final game, they went Dick Blyer, BBD's Dick Blyer, to Schreiber, who was last year's Red Sox Grosso breakout guy, to Chris Martin. And then they opened up the game, so they let their guy Caleb Ort finish it out instead of Kenley.
Nice.
But, again, the Red Sox looking for their formula. They're supposed to have a bullpen this year, which you don't talk about a lot of Red Sox teams that way. And playing in Fenway Park, the game is just always available. So their starting pitching is still very scary. But that lineup's going to rake, and I think the bullpen's going to do it, and that's going to give them a chance. And by the way, early schedule watch, Pittsburgh and Detroit for the Sox. So, there's a chance these Sox could win their first 3 series, and if you get some momentum going in the Commonwealth, here are the Red Sox next 6 opposing pitchers. Johan Oviedo.
Not in my book, I'm being honest.
Roansy Contreras and Mitch Keller,
it's firmly MLB guys, might be taking the leap this year.
Who may deserve more respect by the end of the year, and maybe they do. Spencer Turnbull, who's coming back from injury and could be a trade deadline acquisition if he's good, but whatever.
Quality MLB arm.
Joey Wentz, Matt Boyd. So I don't know. Sox kid. I'm not buying Red Sox playoff stock as of now, but they have a formula. Mm-hmm. They almost overcame it in the first game where they're what's his name? Kluber got rocked.
Yeah.
They're gonna play a lot of fun. They're gonna be a fun watch this year. How about that?
They're gonna be watchable. Your wedding week, the Ep, it was me, Jolly, Trev. We all picked our team that could have a surprise April. They were my pick because I saw this April schedule. They have a formula that, if their formula I think certainly works in April while their starters are all healthy. They didn't actually kind of get to the season fully healthy, but whatever. That works with this opponent. Their lineup just works. Period. That's a quality lineup, and then they have the bullpen. They don't need that much length from their starters right now. That can work for April.
And a reminder, Game 2, fly ball squeeze away from the Orioles winning this series. So that's the fine line of baseball. Orioles, again, if you're not buying, you're selling, in the words of Joe's McFly, and I'm technically not buying the O's, although Adley Rutschman, bye. And he's the guy that could prove everything wrong. Like, sure, if Gunnar Henderson clicks, who, by the way, he's 21 years old, and their lineup gets pretty deep pretty quick. I'm not in on their pitching. Their bullpen was a very good strength for them last year. They got used a lot at Fenway. Kind of second full season of bullpen. Sometimes you feel that. We'll see. Could just be a weekend in Fenway Park. Their starting rotation is Gibby, Kramer, Cole Irvin, Kyle Bradish, Tyler Wells. I don't know. Maybe those guys are ready to take even more of a step, in that massive left field in Baltimore will make them have good years. Adley Rutschman is the truth, and there's a good chance by the end of the year we're calling him the best catcher in baseball. Although that JT Realmuto throw last night, I don't know if you watched any of that game. He threw out Simeon trying to steal, and it was like, oh. I felt bad for that Marlins beat reporter that we shunned one day because we were arguing Gary and Realmuto. That's how good the throw was. Like, it was disgusting. AL East, again, kind of, I'll try to be a little more snappier and instant reaction for, again, a series at Fenway that literally probably the other team should have won 2 out of 3 games. Baseball Susan. I'll jump to my Rays that got a sweep over the sad Tigers. Kind of in the same vein as Adley Rutschman. I'm probably going to have to apologize about Wander Franco. When I did my top 10 list, I even made a joke that Rays fans were going to be mad that he's not on there, and I think they're going to be right, and I think I knew it even when I was saying it. He's 22 years old. When you don't watch a ball player every day, you forget just some of their things. Wander Franco can run. I picture him as like meaty, hitting homers over the monster Wander Franco. He can run. That kid is a stud. Like, again, I'm no deep diving, no crazy analysis out of me saying Adley Rutschman and Wander Franco are going to be good. They missed him a lot last year between injury, and even when he came back, he never really got into a rhythm. He was getting hurt so much. The Rays are going to be there all year. And you talk about, schedule watch. They are now hosting the Nats after they swept the Tigers. So they opened with what may be 2 of the worst teams in baseball, if not the 2. Sorry, Tigers fans. And then they're playing Oakland. And then they're playing Boston. So, which I think they're a better team than Boston. But, hey, it's baseball. It's a series. Randy is still awesome. Just cool. Homers. Jeffrey Springs. Jimmy's Jeffrey Springs. Who looked really good against the Yankees. He had the first, no-hit bid of the year. And go look at his stats from last year. He was lights out. The Rays spent their most money on a starting pitcher ever with Zach Eflin. Shane McClanahan is one of the best pitchers in baseball. Glasnow will come back at some point. Jeffrey Springs is really good. Go look at Drew Rasmussen's last year. He was the guy they got for Willie Adames that everyone was like, oh, Willie Adames. Go look at Drew Rasmussen. The Rays are like back. I think because the Rays are the Rays, they're and there's not a lot you get excited about. Last year they were so injured. The Rays are back in a big way, and I guess that's why I'm not buying myself any Red Sox. I'm not buying myself any Orioles because I still have the Rays above them. They are going to go. Tigers fans, I don't know what your expectations were. Know where I get my Detroit Tigers fan updates these days?
Where's that?
Jimmy Norp is a Tigers fan.
That makes sense.
Of Major League Wiffle Ball and Warehouse. And by the way, when I say I get updates, he updates his Instagram story status thing in the DMs. So when I say updates, I saw Riley Green run, and that was cool. And he's the Tigers' kind of hope this year. Seeing Austin Meadows play was fun, but yeah, man, they I don't know. I don't want to write them off after 3 games, but I think Tiger fans also have written themselves off.
Their team page, you look down the OPS pluses, and it looks, obviously it's one series, it's all extremes, but it looks the same as last year.
One series against the Rays, like, you can't
it looks extreme.
You can't do that, but it's but you can't.
Meadows had a good week, and
that's that's kind of the whole thing about it. Burp into the mic.
Whoops.
The Toronto Blue Jays played the St. Louis Cardinals this weekend. There's been a lot of talk about kind of every team playing everybody, and there's some people that are still, ALNL purists a little bit. I've always thought, going back to early Talking Baseball when I don't know if I should have been talking into a microphone. Every team needs to play everybody because the way you fall in love with players is by watching them play. Again, my 2 examples that I always say. Albert Pujols, after he left St. Louis, he didn't play in St. Louis for like 9 years. That's not cool. And when I was living in Colorado, I think over a 6-year span, the Yankees came through once. And I was like busy that week. I didn't go. There is a side story of that for another day. Me and former roommate Jeff, I think we tried to scalp tickets for a little bit, and then we just kind of got our drink on outside the stadium.
Abandoned the mission.
But that's not on me. But it kind of was.
You only play every 3 years, and that's not guaranteed to be home. Whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't the right formula. And I don't know what the right formula is, but I do think each team, you need to, if you're a young baseball player in Colorado and you see Aaron Judge player, you see Wander Franco player, you see Randy, whoever it is, that's how you end up falling in love with them as a player.
And there's been few guys over the course of the last couple years that we bring up from however long, when I was a kid, and I was like, yeah, I didn't really watch him because he was all NL.
Right.
Like Billy Wagner is, every time I look at his baseball reference, I'm like, oh, that dude's amazing. Should be in the Hall of Fame. That.
The game I always play is if someone did this for the Yankees, how would I treat them? Like Christian Walker. My God, for my Snakes. If the Yankees had a guy be a 30 home run hitter for a couple seasons. Anyways, Blue Jays teed it up with St. Louis. Where my whole speech was going, and I should have said this about Yankees Giants. It feels weird opening with Interleague. I guess that's
with 15 and 51. Somebody's got to do it. But
yeah, it feels a little weird. And if you're gonna do that, do it with teams that have a little bit of history, or do one of the rivalry games. Do a Nats Orioles. Yeah. Do a
World Series
Yankees,
rematch.
Mets. Chicago. And make that a thing or something. If Chicago open with Chicago every year, White Sox Cubs. I don't know. Chicago might be a bad city because it's cold.
And like weirdly, like the rivalry games, I think, are the ones where it's like those are only 2-game series left. The way they have it laid out, don't know if that formula should stick.
So again, I'm diving too far into schedules, but Cardinals Blue Jays was exciting. Birds, and two of the most talented teams in baseball, and they played some kind of crazy games. They were one of the best games on opening day. They were another 10-9 game. The Blue Jays held on to that one. It's where, and if you were watching on our live stream, thank you. It's where me, Jimmy, and Joe's, and Beebs was riding with us in the booth, micro betting live and cashing out whenever you can.
That was I don't know if you noticed it. We were both at Saturday's Yankee game. That was what Glaber did for his roll call. It got me pretty good.
Dude, I loving where Glaber's persona is going. Jack Flaherty and Kevin Gossman in game 2 of that series both had good starts. Flaherty with a weird stat line, 7 walks, no hits. But Cardinals, they end up taking 2 out of 3 after dropping that first one. And those games, every time I clicked in, those were fun. Because you just there's a lot of good baseball players on the field. And, man, I am not backing down from my Cardinals. At last week's Talkin Jake, I hopped on the Wednesday before opening day, and I just ended up in kind of a Cardinals wormhole. Brendan Donovan, if you don't know him, figure him out. Nolan Gorman, the bonus piece for this roster. He hit a couple home runs this weekend. He's 22. There is just a lot of talent on this roster, and they're positioned to make another move if they need it. That checks off our AL East. Let's go to the Central then. We did Detroit. They got swept. I guess I'll do another sad one. The Kansas City Royals also got swept. I didn't love that for my Royals. They got swept by the Twins. 2-0, 2-0, 7-4. They get shut out the first 2 games. That's as bad as 2 games can go. You'd much rather lose 10-5 because at least you saw your team score 5 runs. And you're like, well, if we pitch a little better, we'll be okay. You get shut out twice. That stinks, and it's so funny as I'm now getting in the MLB The Show world. MJ Melendez and Pasquantino are stars of that video game. The other side of the coin, Pablo Lopez, 5.1, shut. Your opening day Twin starter. His velo was ticked up. That, again, when you circle back on the Twins teams, it always felt like they were missing the high-end starters and the high-end relievers. They kind of have both of those going right now. Well, they can have both of those going. I like what's going on in their bullpen. You want to see more from their starters. And it's against the Royals, who weren't really a hitting juggernaut last year. Sonny Gray, although it was a very Sonny Gray start, 4 walks, 1 strikeout. He labored through it, and they kicked it to the pen again. So, hey, Twins open up with a sweep. We talked about them a lot. Gallo runs into 2 homers on the final day. He was I didn't realize Gallo was playing some first base for them. How about that?
For a few weeks during spring training, the projected Fangraphs lineup was Gallo leadoff first base on the Twins, which didn't see that coming.
Yeah, they're going to be an interesting year. Joe Ryan has a good start at the end. Gallo playing first base, 2 homers. Buxton had a massive series. He's so important to them. And Trevor Larnach, former first-round pick for them, had a good opening weekend, middle of the lineup. That's, as we're looking for things that could be significant, like that. If Trevor Larnach is a dude for the Twins, that is season-changing, potentially season-changing for them. Royals, hey, let's move past it and let's get our young guys balling out. Nobody for them had a good weekend, which feels rude. Except Aroldis Chapman.
Huh. It's Salvi.
102.5 on the gun. Yeah, but even we're talking opening week.
Yeah.
Like Adam Duvall right now has almost a 2 OPS.
Yes.
Like we're talking 3-game sample size. That hey, put it in our rear view. Let's get the hope going. Royals Nation, woo. The Cleveland Guardians first 4-game set for us. They go 3-1. Guard Dogs baseball. I'm trying to think. What are my favorite highlights from watching them and the Mariners this weekend? They lost opening day, late night game wrapping up. Ty France, the worst best game ever. Luis Castillo and Bieber. The game was just silent, like nothing was happening. Ty France, 3-run homer to win it, and then those Cleveland Guardians in Seattle win the next 3. Savali shuts them out. They win 2-0 in the 3rd game. Savali outdeals Logan Gilbert, and they kick it to their good bullpen. And then yesterday, Julio Rodriguez hits a leadoff homer to start the game. Bullpen holds as they chip away, and they get them in extra innings. So go Guards. Again, 2 teams I really liked there. For some reason, that makes me really happy about my Guardians. I guess they are the team I believe in the most that I don't fully believe in. Like, again, it's kind of an organizational thing. Like, what their organization has put together, I very much believe in that. There's some days that I look at their lineup and I'm still like, actually, no. I take all of that back. In my head, I don't believe in the Guardians. I so much believe in the Guardians. Because do I believe in Steven Kwan? Yes. Rosario? Yes. Jose Ramirez? Obviously. Josh Bell comes and goes for me. But you're going to get something. You're going to get something.
Generally, yeah.
Josh Naylor, kind of same song, as long as he's against righties, and that's how they take care of him. Oscar Gonzalez, yes. Remember what that guy did last year? Mm-hmm. Andres Jimenez. I just mentioned 6 guys before getting to him. He just got $100 million in his bank account. Like, he's a guy.
24 years old.
He'll torment you at the right moment. And then mild flaws at the end of their lineup. And they're going to pitch. So, okay. I almost just need to remind myself how much I like Cleveland and them getting a nice little 3 out of 4 in Seattle to start the year. Again, let's not go nuts. Seattle, you're going to be fine. That opening day, Ty France homer was pretty cool. Julio gets his first one out of the way. Luis Castillo. Ugh. Ooh. Gross. George Kirby pitches today, so
Ace.
Mariners fans get to celebrate that. A little Mariners-Angels series. Ooh.
Oh, Trout.
Oh, Trout and oh, Tani. Your final AL Central game. No AL Mid yet this year. This year. The Chicago White Sox, they split with the Astros. Hey. In Houston, 4 games. Couple things I liked from this series. Yoan Moncada, a big piece for this team. When the White Sox were hype and we liked the White Sox, Yoan Moncada was an on-base defense switch-hitting machine for them. He had a lefty homer that ended up in the Crawford boxes that he had like a shit-eating grin. Like, basically an out everywhere except Houston and Fenway, and he got a home run for it, so I like that for him. Oscar Colas, the kid for them that gets the call, I think another Cuban ball player, caught a couple highlights of him. He plays with life. And, most importantly, Luis Robert. He caught a ball in center field that it's been one of my fun facts of the offseason, and I don't want this to be shots fired at the guy. A.J. Pollock, who was their primary center fielder last year, does not catch. Luis Robert caught a ball in the gap that was game-changing. And when you start to put that together, like Benintendi, Robert, and Colas, that's a whole new outfield. Like, that can change a team, right? New manager. That can change a team. So you split 4 with Houston opening weekend. Dylan Cease looks incredible. He picked up where he left off. You saw Lance Lynn screaming on the mound. Clevenger made his debut, looked pretty good. Giolito, he's the other guy there. And Kopech hasn't even pitched yet. So, again, the White Sox are a really tough mental exercise. They were a World Series favorite. They gave us a year of trash. They've tweaked some things. Like, the White Sox could be back in this dance pretty quick. Which probably brings us to the Texas Rangers. Because they are a different song, but same chorus, right? Because we said it at the start. Bruce Bochy. I believe in managers. Why not? They also signed a ton of free agents the past 2 years. Simeon, Seager, Backyard Brad Miller, Robbie Grossman have a weekend. Mitch Garver, I think he had a 2-yacker game. Trade, I know. It's okay. DeGrom, Evaldi, Martin Perez. That guy battles. Tough Sunday night baseball game. After like a really good weekend of baseball games, to have a 2-1 Martin Perez Bailey Falter game. I don't want that to be shots fired at anyone, but this game, that the first 2 games, the Rangers scored 11 and 16 to get that. They sweep. The Rangers have brought in a lot of guys. DeGrom, Evaldi, John Gray, Heendog, Simeon, Seager. Josh Young played some nice third base and hit a home run. Like, that team has a recipe that we could easily be talking about them very differently in June. We just don't believe it because we haven't seen them be good. They definitely got a little asterisk that, like, you might have to pay attention to some Rangers baseball this year, which overall is exciting. Phillies, you just wash your hands and get the hell out of there. Your bullpen got destroyed. You guys didn't do much in that final game. You move on. I hate that they're moving on to the New York Yankees this week. Interleague for the Yanks, huh?
Back to back. And Philly's got the same thing, Rangers, Yankees. I didn't notice any other teams who got that. But
I don't know.
It's a weird open.
I don't know. I don't know if I love that.
Just a tough draw.
Your final AL series, Halos and Athletics. Athletics with a nice little opening day comeback. The Ohtani and the Trout guy. After game 1, everyone, there were some tweets out there because Ohtani pitched really well and the Angels lost and people were doing the LOL Angels. And, I am genuinely, last year they hurt me so much that I'm not in on the Angels until they make a playoffs. Like, I've decided to live in that realm, and I think that's good for me. I hope we get to talk about something different. Logan O'Hoppe behind the dish, friend of Nikki Cass, John Boy Media. There's a lot to like, man. Gio Urshela and Brandon Drury are both cool stories in their own way. Renfroe is just good. Rendon, that whole grabbing a fan thing. That wasn't great, huh?
Not the best look. I haven't broken down everything from there in my head, but
yeah, I don't know.
Everyone seems okay with it.
You can't do that.
But
I think there's a sneaky, and like I'm doing this partially as a joke, but like, the joke with Rendon has always been he doesn't care. So him doing that is like, okay, he cares, I guess. He doesn't like being called a bitch. I don't know. I'm not condoning that energy. Shohei pitched well. Tyler Anderson pitched well, which again, that's a big, for them, that was a significant signing that obviously has its question marks if you're the Angels and it's a guy that has one outlier season that was with a team that
known to generate
everyone
outlier
pitches
seasons.
with the Dodgers. But hey, they win a series, keep winning series. Let's talk about you more as the season goes on, Halo. They're going up to Seattle to see a pissed off Seattle team, and then they host Toronto. So, man, we're into the teeth of it. We're into the teeth of it. That's all the AL teams. I know we clipped off a couple teams in Interleague. Let's head over. Let's go to Jolly Olive and Jerry Blevins' New York Mets. They go 3-1 against the Fishies. Senga is kind of the highlight for me. We got to see the Ghost Fork yesterday. He got comfortable. He started punching a lot of tickets. Again, like any new pitcher, Jimmy's rule that I've adapted is you got to see him the second time through. Like MLB hitters, they like seeing a guy and know it's coming, and that obviously makes sense, especially when there's a pitch like that you're not familiar with. Senga looks good, and he has a chance, man. If he's just full-blown good and he adjusts and the league, his stuff isn't very hittable, he has a chance to go down as the best free agent contract from this class. Like, I think he was like 5 for 75 or something like that, which, think about some of the money that was getting thrown out. Like, that's 2 years of Verlander, right? Less.
Yeah.
So if Senga's good for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, Mets win. They
some funky options in there could get interesting.
They played the Fish again. The Fish have a funky team of their own. They were trying to get a couple rallies together. Not too much going on. Yeah, I mean the Fish. The Marlins scored 1, 2, 2, and 3. So, like I said, Avisail Garcia looked like he was in good shape. If you want more Mets talk, maybe go listen to Jal and Jer. Braves take 2 out of 3 from the Nats, and honestly, I'm slightly disappointed in them. The Nationals. I mentioned, Boston, Baltimore, even Kansas City. I think, if Kansas City, the season goes south, I still think there's a lot of fun there between Melendez and Pasquantino and a lot of their young talent. The Nats, I just don't know, man. I hope I'm wrong. The couple times I did tune in, there was some ugly baseball being played. It felt like the Braves. It felt like the Braves, who are, should be one of the best teams in baseball. It felt like one of those spring training games where they play like the college kids or something. Like it didn't feel right. That might be bigger shots fired than I just said rolling off my tongue to the Nats. But National fans, how about in 3 years we look back on this roster and tell me what you really think. Tell me what you really think in 3 years. Let's talk then. Braves take 2 out of 3. Ronald Acuna Jr., if he stays healthy this year, might swipe 50. How about the stolen bases? My goodness. Baseball is a running sport again, which is pretty exciting. I like it so far. Some of the numbers are crazy. Good for baseball. Mets, Marlins, we did the Phillies who got swept. Nats, I'm sorry about you. Head over to our Centrale. Your NL Central leading Cincinnati Reds. They played the Pirates. I'm not going to do the whole song and dance with you. Reds took 2 out of 3. Let's both of these teams have to earn our love. Even though I like some of the young guys on each team. Sorry, guys. It's just where we have to live as a society. As a society. Earn our hearts back. The more fun NL Central matchup this weekend. Brewers Cubbies. Cubbies come out opening day 4-0. Let's go Cubs. Cubs fans have been pretty mean for me, I know Trev and Jom, they've gotten hot about Mariners fans, Halos fans, some different, originally Padres fans used to be one of the feistier ones. Cubs fans are a little on edge to start this year because they have expectations again. And they were screaming at us about their pitching. Like they believe in their pitching coach and they believe in a lot of their young guys. And good, you should. You're a fan of the Cubs. And they come out with an opening day shutout. Let's go. Stroh looks good. Couple guys in the pen. Milwaukee comes back the next couple games. Huge rally in the final deciding game to win it 9-5. The Brewers take 2 out of 3. Dansby had a good opening weekend. You want to root for that for any guy that signs a big contract. Brewers, again, when you're talking NL Central in the scope of the year, this is a team that retooled that has a lot of guys that you could believe in. Jesse Winker with a nice opening weekend. Again, go look at his baseball reference. Yelly with a solid opening weekend. And yeah, excuse me, they've got a lot of young ball players playing that, let's be honest, that's going to be the difference. Is Bryce Terang a 3.5 WAR player, or is he a guy that's going to get sent down this year? I don't know. Brewers fans will tell you he's really good. Same with Garrett Mitchell. And the crew's going to pitch well enough that after getting beat on opening day, the Cubs take down Corbin Burns. They bounce back and win 2. And I think the Brewers are a playoff team this year, but I have to figure out what that truly means because I think there's an East Coast or West Coast team that would make me mentally sad saying that. But I think the Brewers are a playoff team this year. What else do we got? We did Reds, Pirates, kind of. Cardinals, Jays, which brings us to the left coast. My Snakes played the Dodgers, and we split. Yeah, baby. 4-game series. Did you happen to see how they won yesterday?
How's that?
9th inning, tie game. Runner on third, Brewstar in. 2 outs, bunt. Jake McCarthy beat it out. Run scores from third.
Bunts are bad.
Drag bunt, like down the line. Snakes baseball, baby.
Drag's cool.
Yeah, a little softball-esque. But they win. Christian Walker, he has a good weekend. They have speed, and it looks like it's going to be a speed season. So the Snakes are not going to be fun to play. Merrill Kelly had a nice performance. And, hey, there are some stats from last year that their bullpen was as bad as a bullpen could be. That if they end up middle of the pack and some of their young guys go, the Snakes will be pesky. To what? Is that 83 wins? Is that 73 wins? I don't know. Let's find out. Dodgers. I forget if we mentioned this pre-show or at the start. Miguel Vargas, the rookie who was walking all spring training, he's still just walking a ton, which is hilarious. Trace Thompson has a 3-homer game. Dodgers voodoo. Will Smith goes yard yesterday and has a nice weekend. Mookie Betts played some second, turned some double plays, and then he kicked out to the outfield, and he threw a guy out at home. He's a freak show still, if anybody had questions about that. And, yeah, pretty much all of their starting pitchers, Urias, May, Kershaw, and Syndergaard, gave a good performance. So I don't think the Dodgers are worried at all about their opening weekend split. In your final series, same song, different chorus. Rockies, Padres, they split 4. My Rocks, formerly My Rocks, I should say. They win it on opening day. Couple big home runs. Good for the Padres after losing the first 2 to the Rockies, which, hey, we just doled out a ton of money to everyone. You sneaky can't lose opening weekend to the Rockies after you paid literally everyone. Cronenworth, 7 years, $80 million. Seidler was laughing at that. You'll take that? I'm giving out $300 million to basically whoever wants, like the fact that it was under 100 million, he was like, sign me up. And just a reminder, where we get caught up in those with baseball, Cronenworth's contract was basically that because he didn't get called up till he was 26. So that just changes how much money you can make. That if he got called up a year earlier, that might be triple digits. That's your opening weekend of baseball. I know I touched on a lot there. And I think it's normally going to be more focused, but it was kind of funny. We were going through the stuff, going through the stuff, and there wasn't a ton of like this topic in baseball. The topics in baseball, the games were faster. I might have to eat, I don't want to say eat crow, but I guess I keep saying that I think the time changes are going to be more impactful for people that watch baseball every night. Because right now, I think the number is at the games are 20 minutes faster.
Like at least, right?
20, 25 minutes faster, which that's significant. That's more, I kept saying 15 minutes. So that's more significant that
I think
maybe,
we saw spring training games were going to be down that much, and we figured we'd get
that
like
gets
5 to
stretched
10
out
back in a regular season, a little longer commercials.
And I still think it might, but
we'll see. We got to get
see.
some games with actual like intensity being regular.
I guess for baseball fans, I thought that was going to affect us more already, just because if you're watching every night, that if you get saved 15, 20 minutes, that's significant. But maybe people will check out this new baseball with more base running, because the base running numbers are crazy, and the games are a lot quicker, that maybe new people will check in, and the WBC and all of it tied together.
I was trying to think of like what I would think if I wasn't watching baseball yet. And before, it was like, and if you said 3 hours,
yeah,
like this game's gonna be 3 hours.
I guess that's the thing. I don't know a single person that has stopped watching baseball because it's long.
Because it's going long.
That they're gonna be like, oh, it's a little shorter. Let me watch now.
Yeah.
I think baseball's got a good hype train going right now, which I'm excited for.
I think it'll be a more subconscious help
The
than anything.
The base running's crazy. I think there was a couple more defensive plays just because you're not fully shifting. It feels like baseball's good. I'll say there's a couple moments that felt slightly quick in games, and even in the Yankees game we talked about on Talkin Jake last night, like Doval and a couple of the relievers that came out, like there's a couple moments you feel like they're in a tight spot, and it might just be learning the new rules, and it could be gone instantly. If it does continue, a lot of the stuff we talked about, that maybe 7th inning and later, maybe you stretch it out even a couple seconds, 20 to 23 or whatever it is. I don't know. We're all learning. And again, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm also learning to it too, that in 3 weeks I'll never notice it again.
Even with it, I didn't notice it that hard. I mean, I watched more spring training than most people, I guess, too. But.
Yeah, and I guess it's just, it might be what comes with the territory, but there was a couple, 2-2, 3-2 pitches where the moment breathing for baseball had been good previously. Not the stepping out of the box and all the ridiculousness, but I don't know. It just felt
15-20
quick.
does feel a little quick. If they tomorrow said 20 and 25, I wouldn't. That sounds good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's good. It's overall good.
Not a problem. And the first weekend is when everyone was on edge that it would be a problem.
There was like stolen bases were up. The percentages of stolen bases were up like 11%, and the amount of stolen bases from like the first 3 games or something went from like 24 last year to like 80 something. So it's pretty wild. Part of me would have loved to know that just with shifts, more contact, or without the shifts, because now you need more athletic defenders, and stolen bases were getting a little more sexy anyways. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to see how much stolen bases went up without the bases changing.
And you also time it up with the clock and stuff too. So,
right, you got
just
to throw
that
overs,
shifts,
like getting all 3 at once. I would have loved to see the progression of it, but it's fun. It's good for the game. So That was a lot. Talking baseball coming up later today. I think we're recording at 12, so it should be out probably like 2-ish, something like
2.
that.
The rest of the year, the recap
eps will be earlier.
They should be out by noon, but Trev is in
Hawaii with his friend Matthew Stafford. So I'll go
this very first one, and then the rest of the way.
I'll eat bugs on that. Wrapping everything else up from the sports weekend as we got to start doing dumb and some other stuff. UConn rolls again, double-digit wins. That's all they know. Go win the national title, one for the thumb. The team has come together perfectly. Their half-court offense is better than any UConn half-court offense ever. Normally they've had to rely on the star, the Emeka, the Ray Allen, the Kemba, even Shabazz. Like they had some guys at the end of the shot clock that you needed to hit a shot. They're getting whatever they want. Their two big men are dominant. The guards are each having their moment. Even the wings, Caravan is an awesome player. And their defense is dominant. They locked up Miami that was averaging like 20 points higher a game. It's all building up that they should dominate and win one more. And whenever that happens in sports, it gets scary because if you ever think you know something in sports, especially the NCAA tournament, that's when you find out no. San Diego State, they win on the buzzer beater. I mean, an all-time Final Four moment. The first ever true buzzer beater when a team was behind in Final Four history, which I know that feels weird, but it's always been like tied games or the other shots came earlier in the tournament. So that was huge all-time moment. And San Diego State, their defense is vivacious, if that's the right word. Watching UConn tonight, we'll see how nervous and scared I get. I'm on the Huskies -5.5, and they've been winning people a lot of money. And the other story from sports, and I'll keep this high and tight, and we'll see where I'm right and wrong. LSU takes down Iowa to win the NCAA tournament on the women's side, and people were getting all hot and bothered on the internet because there was some smack talk, a little John Cena, you can't see me. Guess what? I think the truth is, and it's where the internet gets its ugliest, is that there's a little bit of truth on each side, and that's what gets people the most fired up. Caitlin Clark did it in the game before, so Angel Reese brought it, and she did it this game when they won. And guess what? If you want to be about that, be about that. And that's kind of her whole point. Like, I am about that. I don't like when people talk, and I use that as fuel, and I go. And guess what? That's fine. If she had won the game and she didn't say anything and she did good, head down, good job, that's fine too. Like it's the difference. I guess the baseball comparison for me is if DJ LeMahieu hits a homer and he goes head down around the bases and he scores, we say that's pretty cool. Like DJ's non-swag is almost swag. Like it's business-like. Like I want to beat you. I'm going to do it my own way. And guess what? When Jazz Chisholm throws the bat and pimps a homer and does the Euro step scoring, that's fine too. Like, so I think that's where the internet started to get just ugly, because if you wanted to be on your side, you could without acknowledging the other side. Congrats to LSU and Kim Mulkey, who joins, her, Pat Summitt, Gino Auriemma, like all-time women's coaches. That's a crew. Second year at LSU. And really cool from a small, like, Louisiana town and stuff. So I guess she might be the bro of the night. Whoa, throwback. We got to wrap it up. Went a little long. Again, I think baseball will be a little more focused, but opening weekend. And there wasn't a lot of big hitters. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll see. We've got a funky week coming. Mm-hmm. With a couple things going down as we head down to Baltimore opening day Thursday. So, all right, guys. Love you. Thank you. Subscribe. Watch everything on John Boy Media.